Now that we have got everything exported from Maya, we're now done with Maya, and it's time to get into Unreal Engine. So you can see that I have already taken the liberty of opening Unreal Engine, so you don't have to wait for me to do that. And we're at the Select or Create New Project screen. For this, we're going to create a new project. So we're going to go down here to New Project Categories, and we're going to do Games. And then we'll click on Next. And as we're setting up a third-person character, we are going to use the third-person template because we don't want to set up absolutely everything from scratch, such as the controls. We just want to be setting up the character. So third person is perfect for this. And then we're going to leave absolutely everything else the same. What I'm going to do though is just save this to a location that I can share with you lot quite easily. So I've chosen the third-person character tutorial folder, which is the one that I'm making available to you if you follow the link in the video description, and it's called Rob. So you'll have access to any blueprints and things that I create as well, should you want to download them. Okay, let's create a project. Okay, that's the project set up then. If I hit play, you can see there's already a character in there. It's the default UE4 mannequin. I don't think he's got a name. I think someone should give him a name. But there you go. That's the one that we're going to be replacing. We don't actually want that one. So let's set about importing our own character so that we're ready to set him up in the upcoming steps. So I'm just going to move up to the content folder. So right up to the top level for this. And we're going to create a new folder. So let's right click. We're going to go to new folder. I'm going to call this one character_Rob. Nice and easy. And then we're going to create another new folder within that. So I'm in my character Rob folder. We'll make a new folder. And this one's going to be called Rob_mesh. Beautiful. And then within that folder, so we're going to go into the Rob mesh folder. As well as the mesh in here, we're going to need the textures and materials. So we're going to create one new folder here. And we're going to call this materials. We're actually also going to store a texture in here, but as there's only one, I don't see the need to separate that into two different folders. So let's go into the materials folder then. And the first thing we'll do is just import that texture. So let's go to add or import. We'll click the button there. And we're going to import to this folder. So let's click on that there. And now we need to find where we saved that to. So you can see that I have already been put almost in the right folder. I'm looking for this exported folder. And there's the head texture. So we'll open that up. And that's now imported. And it just needs to be saved. So I'll just click on Save All. And you'll see this asterisk disappear when I save it. There we go. That's now in the project. Now we're going to go back to the mesh folder. And we need to import our character. So let's right click and import. We're going to find Rob Mesh, click on open. And now it's really important that we get these settings right. So we need to tell Unreal Engine that this is a skeletal mesh. So we'll click on that. We'll leave the import content type as it is. The only other thing that I really want us to change is if we go all the way down. I don't want to create a new material, so do not create. And I do not want to import textures. We're going to do that manually so we've got more control over it. And then at this stage, we should just be able to click on import. Okay, we'll get this warning, but it's not a problem. So we'll just close that. And we can see our Rob mesh. Let's just open it up. There he is. So you can see he's got no materials on him yet, but he's come through. All his body parts are in the correct place. So that is going to work. So we can just close that for now. And what we need to do now that he's in there is to get his materials made and applied so that he looks as he should. So let's go into our materials folder. I'm going to right click, create a new material, and we're going to call this one M for material underscore, and we'll call this white plastic. If I can spell. Cool. And we'll set this one up first. So I'll double click on this to open it. It's a really, really easy material to make this. So I'm just going to right click and do a constant 3 vector, I think. And this basically just gives us a colour. So we're going to plug that into base colour. And then click on this value here to make that white. And when this catches up, you'll see we've now got a white material. What we also want to do is just create a constant, which is this one here. And this can have a value between 0 and 1, which is going to control how rough our plastic is. You can see that there it is very, very glossy. Let's put it on the cube. You see that that's quite reflective. I don't want it to be quite that glossy, so we're going to give it a roughness value of something like 0.2. Yeah, that ought to do it. And that's that first material made, so we'll save that one. We also want a black rubber, so we're going to create another new material. Underscore black rubber, and then we're going to double click on this, just move that over there, and then we're going to do a constant 3 vector, drop that into base color, and we're actually just going to come slightly off of black for this, only slightly, and then we're going to add another constant to control the roughness, so we'll plug that in, and this one wants to be quite rough. We're going to go 0.8, which would be 80% rough, and rubber doesn't really reflect, so there you can see that's now working out quite nicely. So we'll save that one too. I can close that, and the final one that we need to create is the one for the head, so we're going to go for new material, underscore, we'll call it screen. Open this up, and for this one we're going to need a texture, so I'm going to right click and search for texture sample. There it is, and here we are looking for this head texture image, and we're going to plug that into RGB, and let's just put this on a plane so that we can see how it looks. There we go, pretty nice so far. We're going to need a constant for the roughness, and we want this to be a fairly shiny screen, so let's go for 0.2, I think. Yeah, it's got like a matte coating. Let's go 0.15. Slightly smoother than that. Okay. And one thing that I want to do, this is completely optional, but I like the look of it. I want to make the eyes glow a little bit. And for that we need to use the emissive colour. And we're going to multiply it. So I'm just going to right click and add a multiply node. And the result of the multiplier is going to go into emissive colour. And then we're going to take the colour of the texture and put that into A. And you can see that already that's having an effect. And then I'm going to add a constant to B. And any number, so at the moment it's multiplying this by 0 and it's having no impact. If we now multiply this by, let's say, 3, you'll see that that kind of brings the eyes to life and makes it look like there's a lit screen there. And you can experiment with whatever number you want there, and you can always change it later. But that is the basic material. So we'll save that, and we can close it. Okay, so you can see now that we have 3 materials. If you've been paying attention, you will notice that the metallic material that we also need, we have not created. And the reason for that is because there's already a chrome material in Unreal Engine. So we're just going to use that instead of making a new one. So now what we need to do is assign the materials to our character. So let's go back to Rob Mesh, and we'll open this. And over in the top left corner here, you can see we've got 4 material slots because of the way that we textured him earlier. And so now we need to just make sure that we put the right materials in the right place. So what I like to do is click on Isolate, and that will show us what each material is. So this one here is clearly the white plastic. So we'll do this drop down and just start typing white. And there's white plastic. And then we're going to do this one here, which appears to be the chrome. So if we type chrome, there it is. And then the next one, if we isolate it, this is the black rubber. So we'll add that. And then finally, it's going to be the screen. Cool. And now when it all comes together, we have our character set up and properly textured in Unreal Engine. So far, so good. But next, we need to make sure that we've got the animations imported as well. And in order to do that, we're going to go to the Character Rob folder. So we've got the Rob mesh. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this one Rob underscore anims, which is short for animations. So we'll go into here. And this is where these animations now need to be imported. So what we're going to do is right click and we're going to go to import to this folder. And because we've already been importing from this folder here, it's taken me to the right place. And we'll start with the idle, Rob underscore idle, and click on open. And again, we need to make sure that we get this right. So it is a skeletal mesh, but this time we don't need the mesh because we've already got one. So we can turn that off. But what we need to do is tell it which skeleton to attach the animation to. So this little drop down now, there's the original UE4 mannequin, and there's our Rob mesh. So we're going to tell it to go onto that one. For the animation length, we're going to change that from exported time to animated time. The reason for doing that, the exported time should work, but I noticed it was importing duplicated frames. So we're changing it to animated time, and that seems to sort that out. And then all we need to do is click on import. And then you can see that that has imported the animation, and if we double click on it, we should see that that is up and running, which it is. So now we've got our character, materials, and one of the anims set up. So we'll just save that so that it's in there. And now we need to import the rest. So we'll go to right click, import, and this time we're going to do the walk. So we don't want the mesh, we do want to attach it to the Rob, and nothing else needs, oh yeah, animated time, it's remembered from last time. So let's click on import. We'll double check that that's working as expected. Yep, we've got a walk going on there. So we'll save that. Next we're going to import the run. So import, choose the run, open. So don't import the mesh, do put it onto our friend Rob, and make sure that it is on animated time and click on import. Give it a quick check. Looks good to me, and click on save. And then one final one, we're going to import, get the fall. So we do not need to import the mesh, we do want to put it on the Rob mesh, animated time, and import. And then we double check. Yep, that is doing the job, so we'll save that as well. Okay, that's going to do it for this step. We have now imported everything that we need. We've got the character, materials, and all the animations ready to start putting this guy together moving forward. In the next step, according to my notes, we are going to be putting together a blend space, which is going to allow us to have the character blend from his idle state to go to walking and then up to running, depending on how hard the player pushes the analog stick when they're playing the game. So I'll see you in the next step for that. I'm able to continue making these videos thanks to the ongoing support of my amazing Patreon community. If you'd also like to support Game Dev Academy via Patreon, then check out the link in the description below. Thank you.